Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny took place in the main event of UFC Fight Night Fight Island 8. Chiesa versus Magny, and Neil Magny lost the fight via unanimous decision. I believe it was 50-45. I don't see a way you can give a round to Magny. There was one round, I think it was round 3, that was somewhat competitive that you maybe could give the edge to Magny in, but I still thought Chiesa won every round of that fight. 5-0 down the stretch, beat Magny by unanimous decision, then called out Colby Covington afterwards. But we're going to talk about the performance first. What an embarrassment to the UFC that was. And I know people are going to talk to me about, you don't appreciate grappling. I love grappling. I love it. I love grappling. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Sergey Morozov. The grappling in that fight was so supreme. This fight reminded me that sometimes they aren't good fighters in the UFC. And I know that sounds crazy. But the sloppiness that was shown in this bout and the mush brain, porridge brain Magny that was in this bout as well embarrassed me to my core for the UFC, because this is on TV. People are watching this card and it has the title above it, UFC Ultimate Fighting Championships. I love grappling. I love grappling so much. I love everything about grappling. I love the intricacies of it. I love it. I've been watching this sport for so long. Please don't just say in the... I can already see the comments. You just don't get it, man. You just want strikes and blood and all of that. But I know what grappling is. I watch it all the time. I love it. That was embarrassing, man. Chiesa had a win. It was a good win to get over Neil Magny in the welterweight division. But Neil Magny, I don't think I've ever seen a more brain-dead, fucking dumb fighter in my entire fucking life than Neil Magny. I haven't seen it. He didn't commit to anything on the feet whatsoever. Didn't commit to any single shot on the feet. Everything was hesitant. Everything was worried. Michael Chiesa would shoot a takedown, and you know what Neil Magny would do? He would get underhooks immediately, get the body lock, turn Chiesa around against the cage, in the later rounds especially this is, turn Chiesa around against the cage. He knew exactly what to do to stuff takedowns. Then he would get the back of Chiesa, and where he should separate and throw shots, because he's the stand-up guy here, he would then, once he's got the back of Michael Chiesa and stuffed the takedown and got the body lock and turned him around against the cage, he would pick Chiesa up and just dunk him backwards on top of him. So Magny would just get Chiesa's waist. Instead of separating there once you've got a guy's back, he would pick Chiesa up and just fall backwards with his head to the canvas, and then Chiesa would turn around and end up on top immediately, because Neil Magny chose to want to grapple with Michael Chiesa to 5 rounds. Chiesa did okay. He did good. He had some takedowns early. That was suspected in my opinion. He had a nice little sweep in the center of the octagon early. Chiesa's great in those early rounds. Chiesa was visibly gassing out as the fight goes on, and yet somehow Magny always found a way to put himself on the ground with Michael Chiesa. They would be against the cage. Magny would throw shots. The man with an 80-inch reach would be fucking smothering his shots against the cage against Chiesa and be ending up in the clinch with him constantly. I thought Magny was going to defend the takedowns, fire knees in the clinch, nice and easy. He showed he could defend the takedowns in the fight, but just for some reason he kept opting to go to the ground with Michael Chiesa, and it's just so dumb. I've never seen someone so dumb in my life. Neil Magny has 11 years in the game, and he looked like he's just started. I've seen Contender Series performances with better technique than that. I genuinely have. I watched Umar Nurmagomedov, a 24-year-old, show supreme grappling skill, and Sergey Morozov show great grappling defense as well. Both better than Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny, who have 2 decades in the game shared between them. I just don't know what to say about it anymore. That whole card, there were some good moments. There was a great co-main event finish. There was a great feature fight finish. But that card was stinky, man. It stunk the whole way through. And then we get that as the main event. I'm not even saying it's boring. I'm not arguing on the entertainment value of it, man. I love grappling. I'm not saying this is a boring fight. It's not a boring fight. It's grappling. I understand it. I was watching it. I was commentating it the whole way through. It was just so dumb. The whole fight was just filled with a bunch of dummies. Magny is a dumb, stupid fuck. He just is. He's a mush brain fuck. Porridge head cunt. He should be cut from the UFC in all honesty. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't even know how he beat Robbie Lawler. How did he beat all of the people that he beat? There must have been something wrong with Neil Magny. And maybe that is mental retardation, and that's nothing to do with me. Like, brain damage is a real thing. He maybe shouldn't have sparred so hard leading up to the fight, and he might have just taken one too many shots, and now he's going to be not remembering his name. Who knows? But that was just embarrassing, start to finish. He was opting into grappling situations with a guy who wanted to grapple with him on the ground, instead of separating and striking on the feet. Chiesa has no idea what he's doing with his hands, despite a decade in the game. He has no idea what to do in the stand-up department. No technique whatsoever. There are Contender Series guys who have been training for 3 fights long that know exactly what to do and how to look technical and how to look good. These guys still haven't figured it out. It was embarrassing performance from both of them. I can't be the only one saying this. And I know people are going to... The out-hardcorers. The one that say, you aren't a real fan. Trust me, I enjoyed it. Sick of that shit, man. You're not out hardcoring me. I know MMA. You ain't out hardcoring me. No one can out hardcore me. I'm here start to finish every single fucking card, regardless of the time. Middle of the night, middle of the day, call off work, I'm here watching the card. You aren't out hardcoring me. I know people are going to say, yeah, you just don't understand. Yeah, I do understand it, and I understand how shit some people are. And this has really put into perspective in many divisions, this card, how bad the UFC really is. And I think it's time we need to really make a serious consideration of whether or not we want to bring back Dana White shitting on the fighters. I think we need to bring that back up. We need Dana White in there shitting on the fighters. We need to boo more. I think that's something, maybe it's something to do with not being a crowd or as much of a crowd anymore. I think there needs to be more boos, more abuse, and just more things to make them get better, because Magny just forced the grappling exchanges with Chiesa. There were so many moments in the fight as well where Magny was out of the positions. He was out of bad positions on the ground. And instead of getting back up and striking on the feet with a guy who does not know what he's doing with his hands at any time in the fight, he would just go for a leg of Michael Chiesa. For no reason, he would just pull a leg for some bizarre reason. Or he'd just find a way to shimmy Chiesa back into mount on top of him. Chiesa genuinely, I'm not joking here, I don't even feel like Chiesa did that good. I'm not confused here. I'll accept a good performance when my prediction is lost. I don't even think Chiesa did that good. I genuinely don't. I think he just got given positions constantly. He had a couple of good takedowns early, and that was okay. That was expected to happen. He's Chiesa. He's got good takedowns early. But in the later parts of those rounds, it was almost entirely based on Neil Magny's minus level IQ level that just wouldn't let him win the fight. He chose any way he possibly could, and I started to believe in the middle of it that it was rigged. I genuinely did, because there's no explaining that unless you are mentally damaged, and he does need to get a little CTE scan in my opinion for sure, because there's no way of explaining that. He tried to lose in the later rounds. I know as I was watching. He could have separated from the cage so many times. He was given opportunities. Every single time Chiesa would push him up against the cage in the later 3 rounds, he would double underhook, he would get the body lock, and he would just turn Chiesa around like he's nothing, get the back, separate, land shots, land anything on Chiesa here. No, Neil Magny just lets his hands go and just picks up Chiesa around the waist and just pulls himself backwards like he's a fucking 2-year-old that has no idea what he's doing at all. It's like Magny was drugged or something. I genuinely have no idea what happened in that fight. But oh well. Good job, Chiesa. Good win, actually. Good win for Chiesa. He called out Colby Covington, mentioned the election and stuff like that. Good call out. Really good themed call out. Your stick is over. I get it. I actually get the call out. It's pretty well done. He keeps calling out Colby Covington. He's not going to get a fight with Colby Covington. Colby Covington's fighting Jorge Masvidal on tough. I think we all know that's going to happen by now. They've been silent for too long. They both would have signed individual fights if there were other fights to be made right now. I think they're both going to fight each other on The Ultimate Fighter at the end of that, probably around in May. So I think Chiesa should have maybe called out the loser of Usman versus Burns. No one's going to call out a loser of a bout. I think he should have said, hey, whoever doesn't get the win against a champion, if Burns loses or if anything, I'll jump in and be his rebound fight for him. And maybe get his call out that way, but this one will make more headlines. It's relevant to the election as well, of course. Good win by Chiesa. Wasted call out, but good for headlines. But he's not going to get a fight with Colby. It's not going to happen. He's called him out twice now, though. So, however, if he does continue to do well in the division, I would argue that it does build up a fight eventually in the future, because Chiesa can say, I've been the guy calling you out for so long now and you haven't accepted. But I will want to say this. I would argue Diego Sanchez did better on his ground game than Neil Magny did. Neil Magny, 6'3", 80-inch reach, opting to grapple with Chiesa the entire time. Chiesa genuinely just laid in half guard the whole time. He genuinely just laid in half guard the whole time. I know what I was watching. He would full mount. He would occasionally get full mount. And Magny would do something stupid. And then maybe at the end of the round, Chiesa would get full mount. And it just finished before he could do anything on top. But genuinely, he just laid in half guard the entire fight. And Magny acted like he'd never seen that position before in his life. I know people are going to say it because Magny, I know Chiesa works for the desk and he works for the UFC and he does the ESPN stuff. So everyone's going to be big all over him saying about how an amazing performance it was. What a great fight. God, Chiesa's grappling is so good. He just feels like a wet blanket in there. It was nothing to do with that. It was the fact that Magny, with 11 years in the game, has no idea what the fuck he's doing. And that's genuinely the reason. And I think that welterweight, I think that grappling is just one of those things where if you have any, I don't even know. I don't know any more about this sport. This whole card has made me reconsider some things. There were bad decisions. Jones got robbed. Mason Jones got robbed. But, like, there were just embarrassing moments throughout the entire card that made me realise that this might, you know... And I had a theory as well. Michael Chandler coming back this weekend to fight in the UFC. Maybe they wanted to show us a Bellator card beforehand just to get us in the spirit of Bellator. Who knows? But it was embarrassing the whole way through. And it was nothing to do with the entertainment value. It was nothing to do with that. It was to do with the decision-making and technique of both of them, and especially Neil Magny, who just kept pulling. I'm not lying. I'm not a salty loser, man. I genuinely don't care. I want Chiesa to win. It's Michael Chiesa. I don't fucking root for Neil Magny. I genuinely don't care about who wins in a fight. I'm not salty. I just know what I'm watching. And Magny, on 3 different occasions in that bout, had the back of Chiesa and just fell backwards with him on top of him. No hooks in, no nothing, no technical down, no pulling for a rear naked choke. Just lifted up Chiesa and just dunked himself backwards against the cage. I genuinely feel like they told him to, man. Why? Hopefully people agree with me, man. Because I'm seeing the tweets, and I'm seeing about how people saying what a great performance it was. He literally got handed half guard every 10 seconds. I don't know, man. I don't even mind Chiesa. I think he's funny. But it's just dumb as fuck. And it was a good call out as well. The whole election thing, your shtick is over, I want you next, boy. It's just some fucking porridge brain Magny. I don't even know anymore. This whole thing has made me really reflect on like what sport this night has made me want to stop watching UFC for good. And I'm not gonna, because I'm addicted. And I'll watch it next week. I'll watch it this weekend, and I'll wait until Overeem Volkov, and I'll watch that. And I'll wait till 258, and I'll watch that shit card. Have you seen 258? Volkov Overeem is more stacked than 258, and that's not a joke. That's the truth. I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm glad there's a 2-week break coming up, because fucking hell. That card was a real eye-opener. But fair play. You know, they're fighters and stuff, so they got to respect. We got to respect them. It's like, I ain't been in the cage, so I wouldn't know, you know. So, goodbye. See you later. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm putting this up. I don't care. Goodbye. See you later. Click that button up there. Yeah.